You're listening to the Empowering Process podcast with your host, Gail Kraft. Listen as she holds frank discussions around how your purpose, being present, and trusting your power impacts your life. Whether you're an entrepreneur, leader, or developing your vision, you'll find wisdom and insights you can utilize right now. Welcome your host, Gail Kraft.
Okay, here we go. Hello, everybody. Gail Kraft here from the Empowering Process podcast. Thank you so much for joining us. Today, I have, as always, an amazing person, Julie Hatfield. And let me tell you something. She is the owner and founder of At Strong Women University. And she really is going to tell us the story about regret, tribe, and what those lessons in life have brought to her, right? And Julie, thank you so much for joining us. We've had a little bit of a conversation before we started, huh?
Yes. Thanks for having me, Gail. I'm honored to be here.
It's going to be so much fun and enlightening. So tribe and friendship. Let's start with friendship, and I'll share a story that I know I've shared with my guests, but I don't think I've shared on air. And that is, why do I do these podcasts? I had a friend, and she was my best friend since the age of 19, who is a multiple, is bulimic, is a functioning alcoholic, and many other diseases in her life. Those who know anything about those kinds of issues know that they start from trauma. She passed away while I was launching my podcast in 2021. And in the passing, before she passed, I got a call from her son, "You need to come see mom. She doesn't have much longer." And I came. And her multiples were, of course, completely in control. And she had a journal, and she gave me the journal. And she said, "Who are we? I don't know who we are. Can you read that and tell me who we are?" And I read the journal, and I told her what was going on in her life and why she was doing what she was doing, in spite of the fact that it was unhealthy. And she asked me to write our story. What are the things that we've done together so I can remember? Now, understand, she was passing. She was not going to be here very long. I didn't have time. So I did a meditation for her, and I brought her to our favorite spot on the beach, and we walked the beach. And I'm gonna choke up. Sorry, guys. We walked the beach, and I told her, "Remember when you taught me how to fly a kite? Remember when you taught me how to use chopsticks? Remember, right? Remember all of these precious moments that are ours." And I held her hand. I said, "I'm holding your hand. And I'm going to leave now, but understand, if ever you need me, reach out. My hand is here for you." And she listened to that meditation in her final days. So sometimes we get the honor of saying goodbye. And sometimes we don't, but we have the opportunity to honor their existence with the choices we make after, right? So there's the regret can be alchemized into something glorious. And so I hold those hard conversations because I want the people who have lived the life that she led, but found a way out, to share their stories. And Julie, you have a story to share with us as well. And I honor the fact that you're willing to do that.
Yes. I do. I've got chills all over me, Gail, from that story, because although I wasn't able to really say that goodbye, I still feel that in a sense, I was able to do it the way that it was supposed to happen. Right. So, my story starts back in college, college freshman. I was a collegiate athlete. And I really established this relationship with who I call my Lizzie, my El Lizardo. We had all these other names for each other. But, we were cut from a pretty different cloth, but I would say we were probably yin and yang to some degree, with similar passions and purpose in life, and really showing up to spread something good into the world. And our freshman year of college, we went on an incredible trip that really solidified our friendship. And from there, the ins and outs of life happened, right? As it does after school. She became the person that was my adventure buddy. We would just do experiences in life and adventure, and talk about the hard things. When you're in a car with somebody for 13 hours, the hard things come up.
Right.
And we walked a lot of hard together. And she was very real and very candid in those moments, which was something I craved and was really unfamiliar with at that age. So she showed me a level of trust and confidence that I had yet to experience from anybody else. And, after grad school, she moved across the country. And of course, as it has it, right, we're thousands of miles apart. It's a phone call here and a phone call there, but always a connection, right? The kind of friend that you just pick up where you left off. Right. It's like you'd been talking to them the entire time, right? And she got pregnant. It was so exciting. The birth of her little boy soon followed on the heels of that was a diagnosis of cancer. And, obviously as a new mom, that diagnosis, it certainly hit hard. And she overcame it. Not surprised, right? She overcame, but it soon did catch up to her again. And I'll never forget the season that I was personally in as we came up on the end of 2017 at the time. I was in a deep, dark space. I was drowning in my job, in my career. I was exhausted. I was a new mom myself. And I was just about to get married. And I invited her to come to that wedding. And although she was unable to attend because the cancer was back, I knew deep in my gut that this was the last time that the cancer would be back, right? I could tell something had shifted, and I kept saying, I will go visit in the spring. I will go see her in the spring, right? I was in such a valley of my own that I couldn't make the decision in that valley to say, nope, I need to go now. Right. And I share this because I think a lot of us walk in that valley where we keep pushing and punting things down the road, and we don't actually do the thing that's pulling us or feeling compelled to do, or screaming at us saying, go, just go. And I didn't. And I didn't. And I didn't. And that spring, that March, she passed away. And I was hit. Like, I remember the evening I got the news from her sister, I fell to my knees in regret, right? I was that person who I told myself I would never be. And there I sat and said, okay, like I sat there for a while, right? A minute. And as I processed through, I said, look, I can either leverage this regret and sit here and wallow and stay, or I can rise up and honor and live a life that my friend would be proud of riding with me shotgun on, because that's what we always did. Right. So I made the decision through the muck and the mud and the grief and the sadness, and slowly by choice, slowly, it was a slow process. I clawed my way out, and now I live a life that I know she's proud to ride with me on. And I know that, there's really no turning back, right? That regret has actually fueled a passion and a fire for me to help others get unstuck from the suck, right? To get out of their own way. if they're feeling pulled or compelled to step to and not retreat because life is happening around them. So it was such a learning experience for me. And although I'm still extremely sad that I can't just call up Lizzie and just have a conversation, right? And I still have those moments where I say, I wish I just made a different decision so I could hug her one more time or hear her voice one more time. That I know that by design, this is how I was supposed to embark on this journey with her. And there are days, Gail, where she is pushing me, right? You feel that push on your back, or she's just pulling me, right? And there's days that she just sits with me, right? And that's how I live this life now, because I get to, and I get to show up in this way. And she doesn't get that physically, but there's something here that keeps me here. And I believe it is truly her pull.
Absolutely. Some of the experiences that you talk about. So, my friend came from money, from a Harvard professor father. Her mother was French. She went to school in France. I came from the ghettos in Boston.
Yeah.
Nothing in common, yet we had everything in common. Yes, she taught me how to eat, how do you eat mushrooms, what is, bourbon, right? Right. What's pate? I don't know. And I would go, that's just chopped liver. And she's like, no, it's pate. Right. And I taught, she tells me I taught her how to dance. I taught her how to laugh. I taught her how to have fun. Right. And so there is this yin and yang in these kinds of friendships that transcend time and space. And that's what you're experiencing. And honestly, I feel her looking over my shoulder going, yes, one more. Yes, one more conversation. Yeah, take that one deep, right? They're ready to go deep, right? Yes. Because there are people out there, and I honestly think that if she knew of a way out younger than she did, she would have been able to crawl out, right? But by the time she did, honestly, she was in a marriage that was codependent. I don't think he helped. I think that he perpetuated, and couldn't find her way, wasn't strong enough to find her way out of that in a loving way. I mean, I've ended a marriage, but in a loving way, in a way, like we just don't have anything in common anymore. Right. Yeah. There's seasons, some things just have their season. So talk about, this woman university thing that you do, the Strong Women University. I love it. What is that all about? And how has your friend inspired and supported this?
Yeah. So Strong Women U is really the concept of choosing you, right? And as I share that story, you can see in that space and time, I was doing anything but that, right? I was choosing circumstance. I was choosing career because I felt like I had to. I was choosing the things that actually were not what mattered most to me in those seasons. So a lot of my concepts, a lot of what I step into with people and coaching is because initially for me, I needed to hear that message. I needed to hear, choose you. I needed to hear, you're a strong woman. I needed to hear, create what you crave. Right. And so we teach, we learn, so we do, right? We step into, we become. So Strong Women U came on the very quick heels of Lizzie passing. That year that she did, I had the greatest grief of my life and the greatest joy of my life. A month after we lost Lizzie, my second son was born. Then on the heels of that, 8 months later, I got fired. Yes, a blessing in disguise, right? And Strong Women U, thank you. Strong Women U came right on the heels of that in January. Right. It was the breakdown before the breakthrough.
Yeah.
So Strong Women U has a personal space in my heart, right? It really came out of a place of a trench, a valley, some darkness. And it was the light of me actually partnering and stepping in with other people who were vulnerable, who recognized that they were in a pit or a valley and wanted to get unstuck too, but also recognized the power and not doing that alone.
Absolutely. One of the things that I see here, Julie, is the distinction between community and tribe, right? Strong Women U, you're creating a community, right? Like-minded, yes. Supportive, yes. Tribe, which your friend was, goes beyond community. If you're a member of my tribe, and I can honestly say there are 2 people right now that are living that are a member of my tribe, that's it. That I can call, or they can call me with anything. In the past 2 weeks, they have heard from me going, holy crap, this is happening. They're like, cool, tell me more, right? Right?
Yes.
Or crap, this is happening. And they're like, awful, tell me more, right?
Yes.
And I feel safe with my vulnerability, and they feel safe with their vulnerability. That's tribe.
Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So talk a little bit about tribe, and then this amazing community. We'll get back to this amazing community.
Yeah, no, I think what you said, and whenever I hear the word tribe, I kind of just feel and almost envision like this connection at the soul and the heart, right? It's right here. It's in your core. It's people that are cut from a similar cloth, but not the same cloth. They fill your voids, right? They we all have those gaps, those areas of us that were like, man, if I could, they complete you, right? They
Right.
fill those voids. And it's that, what you're saying, Gail, that vulnerability breeds that vulnerability back. And I picture this infinity sign, right? When you put out, right, with the right people in your tribe, what you get back is the same, if not more. Right. So those tribe members, they energize you. They leave you feeling accepted, trusted. They allow you to be vulnerable. Right. There's no judgment. You just exist together in like synergy.
I will share an intimate moment. So my friend and I were roommates at one point. And I don't know if we were painting the apartment or whatever. And she's like, Gail, I love you. Are we gay? Because that's what I loved about her. She will ask anything. And I stopped for a minute. I went, well, I love you too, but I don't want to sleep with you. So I don't think so. Right?
Yes.
Right. So, my heart is full for you.
Yes.
Right. But it's not a physical fullness. It's a spiritual fullness. Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. It's like and I'm lucky and blessed because of the way that I've started to live my life, to have those people who, when you leave the room or leave connection with them, it's just like, I love you just happens, right? It just is your expression, verbal expression of how you feel. And it's almost like uncontrollable, right? It's just as I love you. That's just how you say goodbye, because it's just so a piece of that relationship, right? It is organic love. It's so organic, right? And it's like, it's continuous, right? It's abundance and love goes out, and then it comes back in energy and abundance and love, and you just can't help but express it. So I feel that, Gail, in what you're saying.
Right. And how blessed are we to have the opportunity to have those angels in our life.
Yes.
Right. That have shown us that potential in this life. Right. And, for both of us, because of their passing, have made a shift in how we live our life. Right. Mm-hmm. Right. So yeah, I mean, it's just amazing that more people don't get to experience this. right? I can't imagine not having this experience. And there are people that I adore. And yes, there are, like I said, a couple of people in my tribe. I don't love them like that though. I don't feel, I feel abundantly connected with them, but that one soul, like I said, I am connected to her throughout eternity. And I think I was before.
Mm-hmm.
We would say, let's take a look at our family tree. Maybe we're connected there. No, don't see any connection there, right? Well, why is it that we just have a synergy? And that's long before I understood the energy of past lives, right? And the energy of soul connection, right?
Yes.
Soul connection.
Yes.
Yeah.
So true. So true. And yes, lucky, right? And 4 years ago, right? That's the last word I would have used to describe that circumstance.
Right.
And that pit that we found ourselves in. And now on the other side of that, I just feel so grateful for how it has impacted my life, the way that I show up as a mom, the way that I show up as a businesswoman, and the way that I just feel so pulled to pay that forward.
Right. Right. And that's the power of tribe. Yes. Right. Tribe is, I have a friend, and she did one of the tribe recordings that people will hear. And she calls that living in community. That she was dead. She will say she was dead before she found tribe. That they feed her. She can't live now without tribe. Mm-hmm. That is how connected she is to her inner circle and her community. And she is very, very connected. I'm thankful that I'm part of her community, not the tribe. I'm not that close to her, but I'm close enough that I'm part of that community, and I get to watch some of the things that she does because of it.
Yes.
Right. Right. Okay. We're called to show up, and we have a choice, right? To hear the calling and respond, take action, or not. And even though, at least for me, even though my friend is not here, and I assume for you, because of the amazing things you're doing, that even though they're physically not here, right, the honoring of your life experience with them is enough to feed you.
Yes.
For the next choice, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, it's that time of year. I don't know about you, but I know for me, at the end of the year, I take a look back. I take a look back at what have I done? What am I going to be doing next year? What worked, what didn't work? What do I want to change? And lots of changes. And I look back at, do I want to continue with my podcast? And the response is, how can you not? Yeah. Right? How can you not? Right? Like, okay, I'll keep going.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. And I love that filter that you use. I use a very similar one, and it truly is. It's that feeling connected to the certain elements of what you're doing, right? And you're like, I can't not do this.
Right.
It's just a piece of who I'm becoming because of my experience.
Right.
Of those valleys and those peaks, right? So I feel you.
Yeah, absolutely. And to take this even, another step, that whole tapping into vulnerability and tapping into emotion is how you allow tribe in, right? You can have tribe knocking at your door, but if you don't open the door, they'll be frustrated and waiting outside for you, right?
Yes.
And that can happen. I could honestly say that has happened when I was a manager. I created, I wouldn't say tribe, but community, right? Mm-hmm. Safe space for my team, right? Me being vulnerable so they could be vulnerable. Shared anything with my team. Their success was my success. It wasn't the other way. And that allowed my team to get into flow. We talked a little bit about flow, right? And that's what happens with tribe. Tribe is flow. tribe is flow, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. You were talking about, just knowing. So my friend was lived in Colorado. I was in Boston at the time. And I knew that she was deathly sick. I called her husband and asked, what is going on? My stomach is being ripped out right now.
Mm.
And you need to tell me what's happening. And that's when she was discovering her multiples, right? She was going through that realization that she was not always present and others were, right? And she was going through a very, very hard time at the time. And he's like, I don't understand you two. How did you know? And I said, how could I not know?
Right.
My friend is in pain. How could I not know? Right. And so, when she was passing, I hadn't seen her probably for maybe a year and a half, 2 years. And I only live an hour and a half from her right now. But, like you say, life takes on, right? But I did drop everything. It's like, yeah, my mom isn't going to make it. I'm like, yeah, I'll be there tomorrow. It doesn't matter. I'll cancel everything. I will be there tomorrow. Right. And I'm so happy that I did, when I saw her face, because she didn't know I was coming. They didn't tell her. When she saw me in her living room, she was like, you came. So, yes. So I think if the listeners are fortunate enough to know who their tribe is, and if life gets in the way, it's okay, because tribe doesn't judge.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It is okay with tribe because they know your soul.
Yes.
Right. And
True.
That's unconditional love.
Yes.
That is unconditional love. And how blessed are we?
Yeah. Yes.
What people are seeking, right? People are seeking
right.
that, right? And it's something that you have to experience, right? It's just amazing. So if people wanted to know more about Strong Women You, how would they get in touch with you, and how would they find out?
Yes. Well, I'm the kind of girl that wants to hear somebody's voice. So I give out my phone number.
Okay, perfect.
Yes. So I love just that direct connection with text. Just drop me your name to my phone number or my email address. strongwomenu@gmail.com is a great space if somebody prefers, to connect in that way. And also, strongwomenu.com. So I've got my website as well. So, but I prefer to hear the voice, to dig in with somebody in that way and make that connection. And I'd be honored.
Awesome. Fantastic. And we will have all of that information in the show notes. So you guys don't have to scribble like crazy. Thank you, Julie. I know that there's probably more that we could talk about, and we probably will in the future. This is Gail Craft from the Empowering Process podcast. If this resonated with you, let us know. If something came up because of this and you have a question, put it down. Maybe we'll get together and have another meeting talking about that question. If you know somebody who could benefit from this, absolutely share it out with them. The whole purpose is to share the love and share the growth. Julie, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Gail.
This was great. Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to the Empowering Process podcast. Be sure to visit Gail at gailcraft.com to learn more about how she serves thought leaders, entrepreneurs, and goal seekers. And remember, if you like this broadcast, be sure to share and subscribe so you don't miss an episode.